This past weekend, I got rid of our ATEM Mini switcher. Now, we've been using this ATEM Mini at our church for our live streams for the last couple years. I actually bought it from Facebook Marketplace, if you can believe it or not. When we were looking to live stream, I was using a lot of the equipment that I either personally had or equipment that was being donated to me as a result of being on this YouTube channel. But one of the things that I needed for our church was a video switcher. And so that's why I went with the ATEM Mini. And because I'm very familiar with the ATEM Mini Extreme that I personally use here in this studio, having something that could be easily translated into that live streaming space at our church was definitely something I wanted to make sure that we had there as well. So you may be asking, why did I replace the ATEM Mini and what did I replace it with? Well, if you're familiar with the older first model ATEM Minis, they didn't have a multi-view option on it. And if you're live streaming and want to be able to see your other camera angles and make adjustments to those camera angles in preview mode and not in the live production, you need a multi-view. And so I donated the BZB Gear video switcher that I had to the church in replacement of the ATEM Mini. Now, if you followed the channel, you've seen this BZB Gears video switcher in past videos, and I've used it for some of the events that I produce here locally. And the video switcher is amazing, and so much so that I decided to finally give it away. And it's going to a good home, of course. And in replacement of that switcher, I do have another one here that just happens to be 4K, which we'll talk a little bit about at the end of this video. Now, swapping out these switchers was pretty much plug and play, as you could expect, but there were a couple different things that I did have to make sure that I go in and check, because when you're using a device for so long, you kind of get familiar with those settings and any other tweaks that you might have made to make it work. So with the ATEM video switcher, you want to make sure that our audio sources are turned off for our HDMI inputs. So on our BZB Gear switcher, I had to make sure to go in and disable all the HDMI audio inputs, only leaving microphone 1 enabled. And microphone 1 is actually coming in from our sound audio mixer, and all the audio is being processed there and simply routed out of one output into the BZB Gear switcher, which is then the audio source that we use going out to our live stream. So once I had the audio reset up, then I needed to make sure that I also had the video HDMI ports simply moved from one switcher to the other, which is pretty self-explanatory. 1 into 1, 2 into 2, and 3 into 3. And we don't actually use a fourth input at the moment. But when it comes to the output side, we use our program out going into our foyer and also split the connection to go to our pastor's TV in his office. This way, individuals that are in the foyer can watch the service, and that video feed is also sent into our pastor's office. That way, he can come out into the service at the time that's best for him. And of course, the other output is the multi-view, which is the benefit for those of us that are producing the actual live stream. Now, not only myself, but everyone that produces the live stream can see all the cameras and which angles they're currently pointing out, and making those adjustments without having to make those adjustments in program. Now, because I set up all the camera angles and their presets, I pretty much know exactly what they're pointing at for every camera without having to look at them. But if I'm not there or something changes that's a little bit of out of the ordinary of the service, having visibility of those camera angles is pretty critical. So having this multi-view now allows us to see all those different angles. And even having it for myself as someone that knows all our camera angles, I was even able to do a little bit more of the dynamic switching that I like doing. Having this multi-view just made it even easier to make sure that I had my shots framed up correctly before I switched to them. And one of the many different accessory items, if you will, that I have here is an external monitor. And so I was able to take one of my external monitors and plug that into our multi-view, and now it's a dedicated multi-view screen. Once the actual equipment was swapped out successfully, I also did have to go and make a change in OBS. Now, because OBS was set up to detect the ATEM Mini, I did have to make sure that I adjusted that setup to detect the BZB Gear switcher. And what is pretty cool is I didn't actually have to delete the Blackmagic ATEM. I simply just needed to plug it in, and just renamed our Blackmagic ATEM Mini to BZB Gear Video Switcher so that we could recognize it. And everything worked good. Everything in the exact scenes was already in place. And so we didn't have to make any single adjustments outside of literally changing the name of the device. I'm going to miss that BZB Gear Video Switcher for the events that I produce here locally, but it'll be okay because BZB Gear sent me over their 4K video switcher. And so I'll be doing a review on that. And if you guys want to see this video, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss it when I post this video. And you may be asking, what happened to that ATEM switcher? It's actually right here. And I'm going to be using this for an upcoming podcast video shoot. We're going to be recording a pilot episode of what it looks like for a church to do a podcast. And so we're going to be using this video switcher to actually switch between the different camera angles. And because we don't necessarily need a multi-view because it's going to be a 2-camera shoot, this is going to come in really handy. So even with your older equipment, there are ways that you can repurpose it and reuse it. So now it's time to take our efforts and point it towards this 4K video switcher. And if you like this video, make sure that you check the description section because I'll link to all the products that I showed in this video and the ones that are about to come up soon. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.
You know what? Well, Lord, I just need just enough. Lord, bless me with more than enough so I can be a blessing to somebody else.